It was one of those Sundays where, as a Celtic fan, you just sit back and enjoy the ride. A 3-0 win. Hearts brushed aside with minimal fuss, and a performance that, while not exactly vintage, was more than enough to get the job done. But let's take it from the top. First things first, winning a game at home after an international break is never straightforward. Players are just back from all over the world. Legs are heavy, rhythm isn't quite there, and you're up against the Hearts. Team that had won 8 out of their last 10 matches. That's not a side to be taken lightly, but Celtic made it look like a routine training session. The start of the match was a bit ropey, to be honest. The first 10 minutes felt like deja vu from the Derby disaster a couple of weeks back. Sloppy. Passes at the back, the center halves and the goalkeeper taking their sweet time on the ball, giving the Hearts press every encouragement. You could feel the tension even from the telly. There was a wee moment where you thought, are we really about to see this movie again? But then Callum McGregor did what Callum McGregor does, calmed it all down and injected some life. The first goal was classic Celtic when we're on song. Shelderup fed McGregor, who with one brilliant touch and that trademark drive through midfield broke the Hearts lines. Suddenly the pitch opened up. Dyson Maeda made the run and McGregor picked him out with ease. From there, it was all about composure, and Maeda, who might have scuffed that chance a year ago, looked ice cold as he slotted it past Craig Gordon. On nil. And suddenly the mood changed. That goal felt like the turning point. Up until then, Hearts had been edging it, but from that moment onwards, their heads went. Celtic didn't need to be flashy, but they looked in total control. Every time they went forward, it felt like something might happen. And it did. The second goal was a lovely bit of play. Nicholas Kuhn cutting inside, finding that little pocket of space that he thrives in, and clipping a clever ball in behind. Maeda, always looking to get in behind, attacked it. His header came back off the post, but Jota was there at the backstick to tap it in. That's what you want from your front three. All involved, all threatening, all clicking. The third goal was the cherry on top. This time, it started deeper with Naraki breaking the lines. The move got a bit scrappy, but eventually the ball found its way to Kuhn, who drove forward with intent. And you just knew what was coming. Dyson was already peeling away at the back post, and Kuhn squared it perfectly to pin. 3-0, game over. At that point, you're just managing the match. Keep the ball, conserve energy, don't do anything silly. And to be fair, Celtic did that well. Hearts were never getting back into it. They barely laid a glove on the team after halftime. It was all very professional, very composed. Defensively, it was another clean sheet, and that would do wonders for the confidence of Joe Hart standing. Sinisalo, despite a shaky start, grew into the game. He didn't have much to do, but what he did well. Clean sheet is clean sheet. And for a young keeper coming into this pressure environment, that's huge. The backline looked more settled too. Naraki and Carter Vickers looked assured. Greg Taylor solid as ever. And even Shelderup, who's had some questions asked of him lately, put in a composed shift. Nothing flashy, but sometimes that's exactly what you need. Midfield took a bit of time to get a grip on the game, but once they did, they were dominant. McGregor pulling the strings, Hatare starting to show signs of sharpness again, and Bernardo getting back into the fold. It was good to see James Forrest come on too. Those are the sort of players we're going to need in the running. Players who've been there, done it, and won titles. With the squad getting closer to full strength and Brendan Rodgers clearly having more options at his disposal, it feels like the momentum is swinging back in our favor at just the right time. Now, let's talk about Dyson Maeda for a minute. Because what he's doing right now is genuinely ridiculous. 30 goals for the season. That's not a typo. 30. And the crazy part, he's not even an out-and-out striker. Or at least he wasn't. But he's evolving, and Brendan Rodgers knows it. After the game, Rodgers was asked whether Maeda is now considered a striker going forward. And while he didn't outright say yes, the message was clear. Rodgers basically said that replacing a winger is easier than replacing a top striker. And the way Maeda's playing through the middle, why would you want to move him back out wide? A year ago, Maeda through on goal would have had you nervous. You'd be thinking, right, he might score, but more likely it'll come off his knee bounce, off the post and somehow bobble in. But now you expect him to finish? He's clinical, composed, and full of confidence. That first goal summed it up perfectly. Cool as you like, slotted it past the keeper. No fuss, no panic, just goals. And it's not just the goals, it's the work rate, the pressing, the movement. He drags defenders all over the place. He creates space for others. He's a nightmare to play against. And when you've got someone like Kuhn feeding him and Jota on the other side causing problems, that front three becomes very difficult to stop. Kuhn, by the way, deserves a bit of credit too. His form dipped recently, and you could hear the grumbles from the crowd early on when he lost a couple of balls. But he turned it around. 2 assists, or 1.5 if we're being picky, and a constant threat. When he drifts inside and gets involved in the build-up, that's when he's at his best. Out wide, he can be a bit isolated, but give him freedom to roam, and he makes things happen. Overall, it was just a really solid afternoon. Nothing flashy, but efficient and controlled. Celtic didn't need to hit top gear. They were simply too good for Hearts. And coming off the back of a bruising Derby defeat and an international break, that's exactly the kind of response you want to see. The team looked focused, sharper, and most importantly, united. There was no hangover, no sign of nerves. Just a team that knows what needs to be done and is going about its business. Brendan Rodgers, after the game, also had a few things to say that gave some insight into what might be coming in the summer. When asked about Maeda's position, he hinted that building around him centrally might make more sense. And he also gave props to Sheldrup, saying the club could look at keeping him longer term, but won't make any decisions until later in the season. Which makes sense. Keep the hunger, keep the standards high. Interestingly, Rodgers also touched on Greg Taylor's situation. Sounds like Taylor might be moving on in the summer. Rodgers said it's not about money or contracts, just that Taylor wants to be first. Choice every week, and that might not be guaranteed here going forward. If it is his last season, hopefully he gets a proper send-off. He's been a brilliant servant to the club. And lastly, on the goalkeeping front, it looks like Kasper Schmeichel's injury won't need surgery, which is a relief. He's getting a scan, and the club will assess how long recovery will take. But even if he's out for a few more games, there's confidence that Sinisalo can hold the fort. After Saturday's performance, you can understand why. He looked composed, handled what little he had to deal with, and most importantly, kept the clean sheet. Celtic now sit just 3 wins away from the title, and with Rangers showing signs of slipping, just about scraping past Dundee, there's a real chance this could be wrapped up sooner rather than later. Whether it's on match day 34 or before it feels inevitable now. The form is back, the squad's looking deeper, and most importantly, we've got Dyson Maeda firing on all cylinders. If we're being honest, it's hard not to feel like things are settling into place at exactly the right time for Celtic. There's been that feeling in the past few weeks, especially after the Derby disappointment, that this team needed to show a bit of character. Not just in results, but in the way they carry themselves on the pitch, and Saturday against Hearts. You could see that response. It wasn't just about scoring goals or keeping a clean sheet. It was the confidence in the way they played, the calmness in possession, and the sharpness going forward that really stood out. And for Brendan Rodgers, that kind of reaction will have been exactly what he was looking for. There was a lot said after that Derby loss about mentality, about leadership, about whether this group really had the steel to finish the job when it mattered. And while one good performance doesn't silence all those questions completely, it certainly helps. The fans needed that kind of afternoon one where you can relax a bit, enjoy the football, and feel like the team's still heading in the right direction. Because that's what this season's been at times. A bit stop-start moments of brilliance mixed with patches of frustration. But now, with just a handful of games to go, things look to be smoothing out. What's also encouraging is the return of some key players. Paulo Bernardo getting minutes again is a boost. He's one of those players who brings a different kind of energy in midfield. Not always flashy, but tidy on the ball and smart with his movement. James Forrest, too. Look, he might not be a starter every week anymore, but having someone of his experience and quality coming off the bench in tight moments could be massive. He knows what it takes to get over the line in these title run-ins, and Rodgers will value that massively. And then there's the bigger picture, the stuff Rodgers hinted at post-match. There's clearly a bit of forward planning going on already, thinking about who stays, who goes, and where reinforcements are needed. The comments about Greg Taylor were probably the clearest signal of that. It sounds like barring a late change of heart, Taylor will be moving on in the summer. And that's a shame in a lot of ways. He's been one of the most reliable performers over the past few seasons. A player who's always given everything, but if he's not going to be first choice moving forward, you can understand why he might want to try something new. Hopefully he gets a proper send-off before the season's out. Maybe a start on trophy day, a few minutes to take it all in and get the applause he deserves. It's also interesting to hear Rodgers talk about squad balance. The idea that it might be easier to sign a top winger than a top striker. That's a wee bit of a hint that Maeda might be staying through the middle long term, and Celtic could focus on bringing in another wide option instead. And if that's the case, it opens a lot of exciting possibilities. Because if you're keeping Maeda central and you've already got Kuhn and Jota out wide, then bringing in someone to push them or even rotate with them only strengthens the team. Depth has been an issue at times this season, but the signs are there that Rodgers and the recruitment team are already thinking about how to improve it. And then you've got the goalkeeper situation. Schmeichel's injury is obviously a concern, but Rodgers didn't seem too rattled. Said there's no need for an operation, just rest and recovery. And you'd imagine if all goes well, he could be back in time for the final stretch. But even if not, Sinisalo showed enough on Saturday to suggest he can be trusted. He wasn't called into action too often, but sometimes that's harder. Standing around, staying sharp, and then being ready when you're needed. He did that well. His distribution wasn't perfect, but he didn't do anything wrong either. And in a title run, and that's half the battle, don't give the opposition any chances. Don't make silly mistakes and let the rest of the team do their thing. What's really clear now is that Celtic are in control. There's no panic, no sense of urgency. Just a team that knows what it needs to do. 3 wins away from the title Rangers starting to show signs of wobbling and the momentum starting to swing. There's still a derby to come and anything can happen on the day, but right now it feels like Celtic could have it wrapped up before then. And that's the ideal scenario. Get the job done early, avoid any final day drama, and go into the Scottish Cup with full focus and no distractions. The Cup's a big one too. Rodgers knows it. The fans know it. It's another chance of silverware, another statement. And with the league all but sorted, all eyes will turn to Hampton. First up, St. Johnstone, and no one's taking that lightly. But if Celtic turn up with the same intensity and quality they showed against Hearts, they should get through. After that, it's either Aberdeen or Hearts again in the final, and both of those teams would be a step up. But again, Celtic will back themselves, especially if players like Maeda, McGregor, and Kuhn keep hitting form at the right time. It's been a strange season in some ways, not always smooth sailing, and a lot of talk around Rodgers, around the style of play, around what the team's building towards. But with a few games left, it feels like the path is clear. The squad's coming together, results are going our way, and the noise from across the city is getting quieter. Saturday's performance didn't just restore confidence, it reminded everyone what this team is capable of when it clicks. And if they keep that level up, the title, the cup, and maybe even a bit of history are all within reach. Because here's the thing, even when Celtic haven't looked at their brilliant best this season, they've still found ways to win. And now, as we reach the business end, the signs are there that the gears are shifting, the football's sharper, the movement more fluid, the players more focused, and the fans, they're starting to believe again, not just in another title, but in something even bigger. A team that can grow, dominate domestically, and maybe, just maybe, do something special in Europe again soon. But first, it's all about finishing the job, one game at a time. St. Johnstone next. Let's see if the boys can keep the train rolling. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. In an unexpected twist, Celtic FC have set their sights on one of their fiercest rivals' most iconic figures, James Tavernier. The Rangers captain, a talismanic figure in Glasgow, could be on the move this summer as whispers intensify surrounding Celtic's interest in the record-breaking right-back. Tavernier, whose contributions to Rangers' storied history are undeniable, could soon be donning the green and white of Celtic Park, a potential transfer that could send shockwaves through Scottish football. The English defender, now in his 9th season at Rangers, has firmly established himself as one of the best players in the Scottish Premiership. With over 500 appearances and more than 130 goals to his name, Tavernier has broken records and solidified his legacy as the highest scoring defender in British football history. His leadership, resilience, and attacking prowess have led Rangers to multiple domestic titles, including the 2021 Scottish Premiership victory, making him one of the most decorated players in the club's history. Celtic's interest in Tavernier comes at a time when they are seeking to strengthen their squad and challenge for dominance on the domestic stage. The acquisition of a player of Tavernier's caliber would be a statement move, signaling a new era of ambition and intensity for the Glasgow Giants. As Rangers captain, Tavernier has thrived under pressure, often delivering in key moments, such as his match-winning performances in European competitions. His experience could prove invaluable as Celtic look to bolster their defense while adding a potent attacking threat down the right flank. While the move would undoubtedly be controversial, it is a reflection of the fierce competition that defines the Old Firm rivalry. Tavernier's potential switch to Celtic would undoubtedly provoke mixed emotions among fans, but his track record of leadership and clutch performances could offer a fresh dynamic to the Hoops. Despite his deep ties to Rangers, the 32-year-old could be enticed by the prospect of a new challenge, particularly given his status as one of the most respected defenders in British football. As the transfer window inches closer, the possibility of Tavernier making the high-stakes switch to Celtic Park continues to loom large. With both clubs in the midst of rebuilding and retooling for the future, the saga surrounding one of Scotland's most revered footballers is far from over. Celtic's pursuit of Tavernier is more than just a transfer. It's a statement of intent, and the outcome could define the next chapter of the Old Firm rivalry. Hello, fan! Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.